Imagine my excitement yesterday when I got the quad put together and for the first time thought I was going to go in and see this ESC software I've never worked with before. A couple of things on this build are really exciting to me. One of them is the TBS Unify Pro, never worked with that before, and the BlHeli and the ESC on this copter. So I got it all together and I ran into BlHeli Suite and I clicked connect and nothing happens. I'm going to kind of encapsulate this for you guys. It just doesn't work. Can't figure out why it doesn't work. So I started investigating. Go into Mission Planner. Mission Planner does work. Firmware's loaded up. Everything's copacetic. So, go to my good old documentation. BLHeli32. Yeah. Okay, reading down through here. Blah, 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 blah. Finally get right here where it says set servo BLH auto to 1 to automatically enable pass through. Oh, cool. Servo BLH auto. Yes, it's a 0. Let's set that to a 1. 1 tab right. Okay. So disconnect, shut this down, power down the flight controller. Going to power the flight controller back up via USB. Now I have to walk across the room. I'll be back in just a second to plug in the battery on the platform. Uh-oh, I don't know if you heard those tones or not, but if you did, that gave me away that I've been pretty deep in this already. But let's continue with my video. Now, I'm not going to go through everything I did yesterday, flailing around for a while and then finally figuring it out and going, wait a minute, that flight controller doesn't backfeed power to the ESC, so it can do things. It must have to have power from the battery input, and I plugged in the battery, which made things work much better. Look at that. So there's one perimeter and Ardocopter, the BLHeli Auto, and then you have to have your battery plugged in. There's also a third thing, and I'll show you that in just there's a third thing, and that is you have to have your frame identified so that for me it's an X quadcopter that assigns motor outputs. Without the motor outputs assigned, BlHeli doesn't find those assignments, so it doesn't know what to do. So from a power-up on the first-time power-up on a flight controller to get BlHeli to work, you must assign a frame type so motor assignments get assigned, and you must turn servo BlHeli auto from 0 to 1 to turn it on. After that, you've got it. So as you've probably heard, I've already come in here and played with this and put in some musical tones and stuff. And I kind of played with this program. I'm fairly comfortable with this program now, only having used it about 12 hours. Here's all my ESCs. Here's my flashing. Don't need to do that. However, I do have one problem. When I disconnect here, because I have to disconnect there to go over to this motors tab, I say I understand the risks here. Oops. I do get motors spinning today. Oops, they did spin for a second. And then they stopped. Couldn't get this to work at all yesterday. This time it worked for just a second. No, they're not running. I'm not sure why this won't run. The motors. So here's it. I am really not sure of that at all. That's one of the reasons I'm making this video. But I just did hear them run for a second that time, where I never heard them run before. I'm just going back through what I just did to see if I can reproduce that. This time I'm going to be quiet. Nope. They just don't run here. So, real quick, I'm going to walk across the room, disconnect the battery. I'm going to recycle everything, and then I'm going to show you one thing real quick. So I'll be right back. So I've got my cell phone set up across the room so you can view the platform while I show you this. If I connect with Mission Planner and go into Setup, Optional Hardware, Motor Test, and I'm just going to do the test all motors here and let you see what happens on my cell phone if it works. There you go. That's all of them. Here's a test of all of them in sequence. So they spin here, and I don't know why they won't spin in the BlHeli. But I'm going to use this for a few seconds, and I'm going to see which direction they're spinning with this test and see if that's the direction I want them to be spinning. And I'm going to go into BlHeli and try to change that up. Let's see what happens there. So far, I have found a couple of the motors are not turning in the correct direction. So I'm coming in here to correct that with the BlHeli Suite. This one is number 3. I need to reverse that one. Right, that setup. And if you look at it now, I had to reverse 1. 2 was okay. I just reversed 3 and showed you guys. Now I'm going to look at 4 in a second. But first, I want to disconnect here. I fixed them all. I've got my camera set up again, and I'm going to show you them rotating correctly in sequence. We'll start with the right front counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, and clockwise. That goes all the way around. That's the way they're supposed to be. And I did that by going in here, selecting which ESC I wanted, etc., 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 and just changing this motor direction right here. Oops, So I had to reverse 3 of them, and this one stayed normal. I still do not understand why. Disconnect here. That this doesn't work. Oh, it just did again. Just for a second, something strange going on there. So that's basically the reason I made this video. Can anybody tell me what's going on there with BlHeli Suite and my motors? I will send you all the information that you need if you can help me with that. I don't think this is an extreme problem. I just don't understand it because I'm new to it. I think I've got what I need and I will be fine. This is all the default except for motor direction being reversed and the startup music I put in, and of course changing the music note length and interval. That's all that's been changed. So I'm going to continue along. You're not supposed to exit like that. You can get in trouble with your COM ports. You're supposed to disconnect. So I kind of worried about all that last night. Couldn't sleep well. That BLHeli didn't turn my motors. But I got up this morning and checked the rchelp portion, and it works. And as you can see, I can change the direction, and I did change it for what I need for the platform. I might be able to just go on, but the fact that BLHeli wouldn't spin the motors, and then this morning spins them intermittently and strangely, bothers me. All right, guys, any help's appreciated, and as always, everything's appreciated. Thank you.